performers. But right now I want to bring on Leonard Rowe, who is an entertainment veteran who started his career in 1975. Over the years, Leonard Rowe has promoted some of the largest, most successful national tours in music history, including big-name artists as Kool and the Gang, Barry White, Parliament Funkadelics, OJ's, Michael Jackson and the Jacksons, Prince, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations. I mean, I could go on and on. Near and dear to his heart is the history he made with Michael Jackson and the Jacksons. He was the only African-American concert promoter to ever tour the Jacksons, having produced and promoted the highly successful tour that launched Michael's solo career off the wall in 1979 and 80. Leonard Rowe has continued his relationship with the Jackson family for more than 30 years. He's a close friend of Michael Jackson, and he became a crusader for justice for Michael. His book is What Really Happened to Michael Jackson, the King of Pop. So, welcome Leonard Rowe to Roseanne Live.
Hello. Welcome. How you doing?
Welcome. Thanks for being on again.
Yeah. How you doing, Roseanne? It's good to
talk
to you. How you doing, Kathleen?
I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. First of all, let me thank both of you for allowing me to participate in this very important discussion that you're having.
Well, you know, I know that, June last year you spoke with Roseanne about your lawsuit, your discrimination lawsuit that you had going against the William Morris Agency. Can you sort of touch on that lawsuit? Bring us up to date on that, and then bring us up to date on that lawsuit for those who aren't familiar with it. And then also, let's talk about racism specifically in the music industry.
Okay, well, right now, what happened since I've spoken to you all last year was that a federal judge, Judge Robert P. Patterson, ignored crucial evidence in the case and dismissed my 60B motion to reinstate. So now what we are doing is we're going to international law, and we are filing a complaint in international law, and we're hoping to find justice there. You know, what has happened here, Kathleen, and I touched on this in an article that I have written. What has happened in this country is that our courts have been corrupt, and corruption have taken control of the justice system. And we must speak out about it. You know, years ago, Kathleen, when I entered the music industry, I saw the civil rights of African Americans being violated on a daily basis. But it was the way of the land, so no one complained about it.
Right.
So I just could not phantom the thought to just ignore it. You know, what Martin Luther King stated kept ringing in my head. And what he said was, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matters. And I kept hearing that. And he was so right. So I could not remain silent about the injustice that was taking place in the entertainment industry, especially against African Americans. You cannot change things that you decide to tolerate. And when you decide to tolerate things and allow your civil rights to be violated, not only your civil rights, but American citizens' civil rights, our world, our country, I might say, is heading for a bad end. Now, our courts in this country has become corrupt. And this is what the public do not know. The court system in America has been seized, especially against minorities. Judges are turning a blind eye to discrimination cases and cases of civil rights violations. And people are not aware of it. Most people are not aware of it. You know, I was speaking to someone.
Well, it probably is going to, excuse me, but, you know, it probably got a lot worse after the Constitution itself was suspended.
You're probably right. But you know,
when was the Constitution suspended? After 9/11?
Yeah, I didn't know it was suspended. But you know, let me tell you what you cannot do, Roseanne. I want you to, and this is very important. You cannot ask American citizens to go abroad and put their life on the line for this country. And upon their return, they are being denied equal protection under the law.
Right.
and due process of the law. You can't continue that. If you do, it's like a keg of dynamite waiting to explode. Eventually, we're going to have problems in this country if you continue to do that. When judges stop allowing civil rights cases to be put in front of a jury, like they have done in the Marcus Washington versus the William Morris Agency case, and like they're doing in another case that I viewed in Georgia, which was the Mark Steve versus Adorning and Yates case. I mean, what I have viewed in those two cases, as well as my own, is horrible. And it's judges that are breaking the law as they see fit. They are not obeying the Constitution, nor are they obeying their oath of office. And they don't care who knows it. You know, this began, Roseanne and Kathleen, when the Reagan administration took effect.
Right.
And it continues through the Bush administration. What they did is they couldn't come forward and say, you know what, we don't want to obey those civil rights laws. We don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is more than one way to skin a cat.
Right.
So we're going to put judges in place that ignore them. And if these judges don't want to ignore them, we're not going to put them on the bench.
Right.
So that's why very seldom nowadays do you hear of anyone winning a civil rights or discrimination case. You don't hear that anymore. At least I don't.
Well, you know,
they're not even being heard.
They're not being heard by a jury. They prevent a jury because, and let me tell you why, Roseanne, they're not being heard by a jury. Because when a case reaches a jury, that's when the corruption stops. That's when your payoffs and your influence stop. When it reaches a jury. So they do everything within their power, especially the entertainment industry, especially defendants such as the William Morris Agency and CAA. They do anything and they pay anything to not allow a case against them, especially a discrimination case.
Well, talk about some of the
confronted by a jury.
Leonard, talk about some of the specific. Give listeners some of the specifics so that they know the meat, the substance of your case. Talk about Exhibit A. Talk about
Let me say that. When I just said a few minutes ago that when I entered the industry in 1975, I made a statement to you all, and I said that there were certain things that I saw that I couldn't get past. I saw African American civil rights being violated at an alarming rate. Now, the one instance, the one violation that I saw that I thought was so egregious was this. In this country where we are supposed to have equal opportunity, there has never been an African American person allowed to engage in a contract with a black entertainer for a concert. But white promoters can engage in a contract with both black and white. So that was hard for me to get past. And I hope you understand what I'm saying.
That seems a little hard to get past to me, too.
And let me explain why, Roseanne, it was hard. It doesn't take Einstein to know that I could never reach the level of prosperity as my white counterparts if this is allowed. And it was being allowed, and you know what? People was accepting that. That was the law of the land. But I could not accept it. I could not accept that. So I did the right thing that I thought was right. I took my case to court, to federal court. I got lawyers that I knew was competent, or that I thought was competent, and they looked at the situation and told me, said, you have a very good case. Not only do you have a great case for discrimination, but you also have a great antitrust case. I didn't know much about antitrust in those days, but I went along with my attorneys. We went to court, and as we got closer to the jury, evidence started being revealed. And I hope you don't mind, Roseanne, but I'm going to say the evidence that was revealed. Yes. It was referring to black people as niggers, spooks, and coons hundreds of times in their email correspondence. When I say they, I mean William Morris and CAA. They was calling us niggers, which is not a violation. But the content in which it was used was a violation. When you say, don't allow those niggers to do this, Those niggas are making too much money, and so forth and so on. But so when that surfaces, what they do is collude with the court and with my own attorney and pay millions of dollars for this evidence to be concealed. They didn't only do it in my case. They did it in Marcus Washington versus the William Morris Agency. He's in court now trying to find justice. But you know what? They are using an old tactic that they have always used called delay, deny, and we hope you die before your case is surfaced.
That's what my point is about the Republican Party right now with this austerity thing, shutting down everything. They do, they must be heavily invested in a whole bunch of people dying.
You know what it is? Let me explain something. One of the biggest things, Roseanne, about that. These insurance companies are paying them so much money.
You know that's
true. And giving them so much under the table to make them keep fighting this case. And I was listening a little earlier where you all was talking, what Cynthia was talking about. Look, if you want to change it, you must use the law to change it. These insurance companies, they are making a lot of money. I have a 3-member family, and my insurance for my family costs me $1,000 or so every month. They want to keep making that type of money. Then when you have a pre-existing condition, they go up on you for that or ignore you and don't want to give you coverage at all.
That's right.
So look, the insurance companies, all they want to do is profit. So
right.
If people wonder why these Republicans will continue to fight a situation where the Supreme Court said it's over, let's move on, it's because the insurance companies are paying them a lot of money.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you know what I think? These insurance companies, they make a lot of money when people get sick. They make money when people, for their treatment and for their pills they have to take and, the exorbitant fees that they try to, people have to choose between their rent and their meds. I mean, boy, they've got it all sewed up. And of course they're going to keep defending that system. They're all putting public money into their private pockets. What with the laws they changed, their deregulation of the insurance companies from, you're right, Ronald Reagan on.
What they had to do, Roseanne, when they looked at the corruption that was going to be engaged in years ago, when they looked at how they was going to be able to avoid the civil rights laws, they had to do a couple of things. Let me explain to you what they had to do.
Okay.
They had to corrupt the courts because they don't want to go to prison. So what they had to do was corrupt the justice system. And that's what they have been successful in doing. The corruption, look, make no mistake about it. I have investigated thoroughly for years. I've been involved in the justice system. They are corrupt as you could get. When you see judges like Robert P. Patterson and Kevin Castillo in the Southern District of New York, these judges have no business sitting in judgment of anyone. They have broken the law repeatedly.
I love that.
They have broken the law, Roseanne, repeatedly.
Yeah.
They have violated the civil rights of Americans at an alarming rate. And when you see crimes like this being committed by our justice system, where you go looking for justice the right way, and you are being violated by the very same people that our government put in place to protect you, it is scary.
And you
wonder